Hello, friends. I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. Today, I'm going to be doing one of my 3 look-back videos for the year. I do them about every 4 months or so, where I look back at games that came out 5, 10, and 15 plus for the final video years ago, and see how they stand up and what I thought overall about the year in question. And this is my 3rd year of doing this, I think, so we're almost being like 2 more years away from getting to repeat videos. So that's kind of interesting to see where the 5-year ago videos or games fall into the 10-year ago realm, and I look at games that were new at the time of me doing that video. But enough jabbering on about that. This video, in case you didn't see the title and look at the thumbnail or anything, you just blindly clicked on it, is looking back at 2020. 5 years ago, what games came out in 2020? And the way I do this is I look at the games I enjoyed from that year, my favorites, whatever you want to call it, the expansions I've enjoyed playing from that year, the games I really still want to get my hands on from that year because it's so hard to play all the games, especially the ones from 5 years ago are still relatively new. Maybe not, depending on your opinion. And then the expansions that I would still like to get my hands on that came out in that year as well. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and look at 2020, starting with the games that I enjoyed. My favorite games from that year, in no particular order at all. Kind of just, I click through BGG, see what came out in the year, and throw them on my little spreadsheet here I'm going to look at off to the side. But let's start with one that was on my recent top 50 list. I think the only one that hit the list from 2020, if that one's tell you about the overall thoughts of the year. And that is The Lost Ruins of Arnak. One of my favorite little kitchen sink, if you will, games. This game, you're using 2 different types of cards even to take various ability actions to move up a research track. And you've got 2 workers you're placing out on the board to gather resources and to go fight the monsters as you explore deeper and deeper, because that's what the game is. It's an exploration game, Indiana Jones style. You're going out, you're playing cards, you're placing workers, you're gathering resources, and you're just trying to extend your turn, and stretch out the game as long as you can. I think it plays over 3 or 4 rounds, but those rounds can last as long as you have resources to make them last. And that's neat. I really like that aspect. Lost Ruins of Arnak, one of my favorite games because it just has that fun blend of worker placement, card building, track advancement, resource management, a little bit of combat, all the things in one. An enjoyable game, The Lost Ruins of Arnak. Then I've got Kanban EV on the list. It was on my top 50. It's one of the ones that fell off. Just a heavy Lacerda game about building electric vehicles, and you're placing workers on different action spots to do the things that you need to do, collecting parts to build the vehicles, testing the vehicles. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played this one. Really enjoyable. One of my favorite Vital Lacerdas for the theme and the play combo. Some will like the theme better, some will like the play style better. But when I'm talking about a Vital Lacerda game, this one I like kind of both. Not really a car person, but I like the car theme enough with the mechanics enough, pun maybe intended, of the game that it's still one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Lacerda games, Kanban EV. And then I want to talk about Pandemic Legacy. Season 0 came out in 2020, the 3rd and, as of right now, final in the Pandemic Legacy series. And this is a game where you're traveling back in time to kind of before the events of the other stories I want to get into too much. Hopefully I don't think that's given anything, but I think that's on the box itself. But you are kind of agents in the 1960s going around and researching the I don't remember exactly what you're researching. It's been a while since I played it. This is my 3rd favorite as far as the 3 go. I still really enjoyed the story. The play style was Pandemic, but different enough that it felt fresh and new, and I liked that. I really like the Pandemic gameplay. I like the Legacy series as a whole, even though this was my third of the three as far as like overall enjoyment of story and gameplay. It was still very fun and enjoyable. New York Zoo is my favorite Uwe Rosenberg game, just missing or just making, I don't remember, my top 50 list. I really enjoy this one. It's just a tile collection game where you're filling out your zoo board with animals and animal pens and attractions, and you're trying to just be the first one to fill up your board with the tile placement. That's it. You're not collecting points, you're not collecting resources, you're just managing the tiles and the zoo animals to collect more and more tiles to eventually be the first one to fill up your board. I really like it. It's a great family weight game, New York Zoo. And then finally, I actually lied earlier. This one's also in my top 50 favorite games. Rococo, the deluxe version, is the one I've played from 2020. Obviously, since this is the deluxe version, Rococo came out before 2020, but the only one I've played is deluxe. So that's what I'm kind of going off of talking about. A game where you're a designer, a clothing designer, making dresses and suits for wealthy aristocrats who are going to a party, and you're dressing them up to earn points, or you're just making clothes to sell to earn money, so that way you can use that money later to do different things. This is another one of those games where you're using card actions to take actions, and you're buying more action cards so that way you can take bigger and better actions later in the game. And based on what kind of worker card it is you're using, you're limited on the actions you can do. Gold workers can do everything, while bronze workers can only do limited things. They're not as good, obviously. So they're the ones who are going to go out and just kind of collect the resources, so that way your gold workers can do the bigger and better things. And I really like Rococo. A lot of fun to play. Moving on to expansions. Wingspan Oceania is one of the middle Wingspan expansions, as they go to add every continent. And Oceania, I don't recall exactly what it added. I believe it added the yellow card powers. Man, it's been a while since I played the game. So Oceania, I'm pretty sure they added the yellow powers. I don't remember exactly what the yellow powers do, though. And more scoring, more cards, more expansion. And I really appreciate more expansions, because you don't have to learn too many new tricks with more expansions. They just add more things to the game. And that's mostly what Oceania did. I know European expansion added the end of round abilities, so that added just that little twist. And then Asia added the single player and 2-player version and the big box and a bunch of other things too. Did Oceania add the nectar? It might have added the nectar, but that might have been Asia. I don't remember. But I know I have it, and it's in the box. It's a more expansion, more things for Wingspan. And speaking of a more expansion, Architects of the West Kingdom Age of Artisans is another more expansion. It added another player to the game, I think, so you can play with 5 players now. I've only ever played with everything for the Architects of the West Kingdom, and I know it didn't add all the Wonders. That's a different expansion, the Wonders expansion. The Age of Artisans, I'm pretty sure just added more artisan cards, more building cards, basically more. Another player that you can play with. So it was definitely very much a more expansion that you can just add into what you already have and not really notice it as much as the other expansion. And I appreciate that. So those were the expansions that I enjoyed from 2020. Let's look at the games I haven't played yet from 2020. And I guess this one's just happened to be in alphabetical order, starting with On Mars. Again, I talked about Vital Lacerda for Kanban EV. I guess On Mars came out the same year. That's amazing. 2 big games in one year. I've heard great things about On Mars. I haven't played it yet. I've heard it's one of the more complex games, and you're kind of playing in 2 versions. You're playing, if I'm correct about which game this is, you're playing kind of on Earth, and then you're playing on Mars, a 2 separate kind of game that you're managing when you're doing what, where, if I'm recalling the right game. I believe I am. Paleo, a game that I knew when it first came out, I was very, very much interested in, and it kind of hasn't been talked about much since. So I don't remember much about why I was interested in it, but I know I was interested in it, and I still am. I'm interested in hearing more about why I was interested in the first place at this point, kind of out of mind for the last 5 years since it hit the market. Praha Kaput Regni is a game that you see right over my shoulder. So I have it. I recently purchased it. I haven't got it to the table yet. Heard great things about it. I haven't read through the rules yet. So I'm interested in playing it, learning it. And I've been to Prague. I really like Prague. And this is kind of Prague in the olden days. You're building up and doing things around that city. Looking forward to getting that one to the table soon. The Red Cathedral is a game that I've been super interested in a long time. It's by Devir Games, who I think I've enjoyed everything I've played of theirs. I've heard wonderful things about the Red Cathedral. In comparison to the White Castle, which is a game that I have really liked when I've played it, I've still heard that the Red Cathedral is better, but they're similar. So really looking forward to that one. Trekking the World is a game. I like history, I like the world, I like geography, I like trekking, and it's a family-friendly game, kind of like Parks, which I've played and enjoyed, and trekking through history I enjoyed as well, so really interested in checking out Trekking the World. And finally, for the Want to Plays from 2020, I've got Viscounts of the West Kingdom. I've heard lots of people talk about that's their favorite of all the Garphill games, and definitely in the West Kingdom series. It's Rondel style, I think. It's one of the few at this point Garphill games I haven't played yet, as I've started to build up my Garphill games collection. So I'm definitely interested in finally checking out Viscounts of the West Kingdom at some point as well. And finally, rounding it out with the expansions from 2020, starting with Marvel Villainous Infinite Power. I don't know if this one mix and matches. Like, I have the Marvel, not the Marvel. I have the Disney's Villainous game. I think this one works with that, but maybe it doesn't. You have to correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong. But I have the base Villainous game. I think the Marvel Villainous Infinite Power works with that. But if I'm wrong, let me know, please. I'm interested in that one. Kind of playing through, the Marvel bad guys. It's definitely got Thanos on the cover. I'm not sure who else is in it, but I like Villainous enough. I'm interested in checking out the Marvel side of it. Everdell Spire Crest. I'm interested in checking it out. I have the big box. I don't think you can see it, but it's right there of everything Everdell, but I haven't pulled out the Spire Crest stuff yet. So again, like Praha Kaput Regni, this is one I can easily get to the table at some point. And should definitely before we review this again in 5 years. So I've got that. Looking forward to getting that one to the table. And then the Quacks of Quedlinburg Alchemists. I have one of the expansions. I don't believe it's the Alchemist expansion. I believe it's the Witches expansion that I do have and have played. If the Witches and the Alchemists are the same, I don't think they are. Again, correct me below. But Alchemists, I'm pretty sure I have not played. I don't have it, but I might be wrong. I do have the other expansion and the regular Quacks of Quedlinburg. I do really enjoy this bag builder. Look forward to checking out what Alchemists bring to the table, presuming that's not the one I have. I'm 99% sure it's not. But anyway, that's my look back at 25 years ago, the games. How's it hold up overall? I think it was a decent year. Again, looking at the games I want to play, I've heard great things about Red Cathedral and On Mars, and good things about Praha Kaput Regni and Viscounts, I guess, if I'm going to tier them off that way. Paleo was a game that kind of came and went that I was interested in, but you haven't heard much about. As far as my favorites, Rococo, Lost Ruins, definitely very good games. New York Zoo, I really enjoy. Pandemic Legacy Season 0 was a lot of fun in the one-offness of it. Kanban EV, like I said, might be my favorite Lacerda, but as far as it goes, I enjoy it. Obviously, it was my favorites from the list when I was going through. There are plenty of other games that I could have thrown on here that I just didn't like enough to say they were my favorites of the year. A decent year, I would say, not the greatest year personally, looking back at 2020. Some good games, some average games, and that's how I feel about 2020 as a whole. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Definitely comment below your thoughts on any of these games mentioned, the ones I've forgotten about, the ones I might not have forgotten about and just said nope to the list, but you don't know that. You weren't there when I was doing this. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on 2020 as a whole and some of the games I should check out that might not have been mentioned. And I will comment about whether or not I played them and just decided they weren't worth mentioning. And finally, subscribe to see more videos just like this one, reviews, top 10 lists, etc., in the board game industry. I do appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.